Hi everyone, welcome back to Study Room. So, in this video, we will learn about public distribution system. Okay, so we have discussed public distribution system in the previous slides as well. Public distribution system is one of three integrated schemes that have been made to improve the condition of hunger in our country, basically to ensure food security, right? Now, what do you understand by public distribution? We have studied about ration cards in it, right? We have studied about three types of ration cards: Antyodaya card, BPL, and APL. Okay, Antyodaya, BPL, and APL. Now, these three are not just the only measures that have been taken by the government to improve the condition of food security in our country. We will first learn who are these people, who are these target group who require this kind of distribution. Second, what steps has been taken to improve their conditions. And third, we will see in terms of stats, in terms of number, we will see how much improvement have been made. Okay, so let's start. First, we'll discuss about Food Security Act 2013. Uh, this act, National Food Security Act, was established in 2013. This act under this act, 75% of rural population and 50% of urban population have been categorized. Okay, they have been separately categorized in a circle who are eligible household for food security. Okay, now, for example, if there is a colony, okay, let's see, this is a building, okay, and in this building, almost 35 people live. How do you identify that? How do you identify that these 35 people living in here are do not require food security, right? So, for this, government has specifically targeted these audience, okay, and have jot them into a circle, and their ratio is 75% rural and 50% urban people, okay, or people living in urban areas who are eligible for food security, means who require some sort of administrative help. Okay, now what is the current status of public distribution system? How does it work, and what are the groups that they have targeted? Okay, so the following schemes were introduced to improve efficiency of PDS, public distribution system. So these are the schemes that have been introduced by the government: a public distribution system, targeted public distribution system, Antyodaya. So we will study about each one of them in detail. And these are the year when they have launched, and these are the target groups. Okay, so public distribution system was it has been running up to 1992, and it is universal target. Okay, means it does not like confined into one group. It has opened its boundaries and include people who require help, okay, who even require help, or people who are above poverty line as well. Second is uh, rpds. RPDS is revamped public distribution system. It was launched in June 1992, and it has 1700 backward blocks. Means in this scheme, in this particular scheme, it ensures people who are living in remote areas. Okay, means who are living in hilly areas where there is inaccessibility of basic things. Okay, so that is revamp public distribution system. Then we have TPDS, Targeted Public Distribution System, which was released in 1998, 1997, which was established in 1997, and it target below poverty line people and people above poverty line who get all the material in 100% economic cost, and for BPL they get all the items or all the necessity things with 50% less subsidized rate. But people of APL get some basic commodities at a subsidized rate, fixed up subsidized rate. Okay, then we'll see AAY. AAY was established in 2002. AAY is Antyodaya Anna Yojana, which target poorest people who come in the very lower category, poorest category of under below poverty line. Okay. Then we have APS who target the senior citizen, and then NFSA 2013 prioritize household. So we will study about all these. We'll study about few of the important schemes which are there a part of your chapter. So let's start. First is Antyodaya Anna Yojana, very important. This target 1 crore of the poorest BPL families, means below poverty line families. It target poorest of below poverty line families that were identified and were covered under TPDS, targeted public distribution system. Okay. These family have received food grains at highly subsidized rate, which is like 2 rupees or 3 rupees per kg. Okay. So now who are these people? These are the people who comes under very low level of BPL families. Okay. So TPDS is targeted public distribution system. Under this, government has targeted these people. Okay, have pointed out and targeted these people and put them in a circle and try to help them through these schemes, which is one of them is Antyodaya Anna Yojana. Okay. Now, um, what are this is an activity which is related to criticism of public distribution system. So now again, if there is a policy, there must be drawbacks of it as well. So it's important for us that we study about the drawbacks of PDS, of PDS and criticism of PDS as well. Okay. This is a graph that we have from Food Corporation of India from 2019. So we will identify some uh, reason the FCI garneries were overflowing with grain. Okay, so it means whatever they required, they have more than their requirement. Okay, let's find out. So okay, so we have till January approximate 357 grains. Okay, and we have 357. This is the actual stock. 357 grains. And buffer norm means the required were only 214. All right, and then we see we have 411 requirement, and then we have actual stock of 650. And by October we have 307, and we have 542, but the required were only 307. So we see a massive difference in all the time, um, with norm and actual stock. However, uh, what was the problem? Was it not being delivered to the people? Was it due to a lot of corruption and due to levels in our country? The actual food grain is not being delivered to the beneficiaries. What had been the reason? Let's find out. So now, first is surplus buffer stock and wastage. We had always more than required. Distribution system has been, has been a not a very smooth system. But again, there were always extra than. So buffer means extra. Buffer means surplus. Okay, buffer stock means having surplus stock. Okay, but we had surplus buffer stock, which means we have extra stock, and therefore it has lead to wastage. You must have seen in news channels or somewhere where there's whole go down full of wheat which is now wasted, and the wheat is all over the road, and vehicles are passing over it. So yes, such situation has sadly been seen because of the mismanagement. All right. Second is malpractices by PDS leaders. So public distribution dealers have been doing malpractices, have been doing corruption um, since a very long time. Since the process is not directly government and beneficiary, no, it has lots of layers in it. We add wholesaler, then retailer, then farmer involvement, and everything. Due to this, the beneficiary, it has been more or lesser not being able to receive by the actual beneficiaries due to the malpractices. Okay, uh, decrease in decrease in concession for APL families. So people who are above poverty line, they have their concession have been decreased. Okay, so we had buffer stock as well. Since we since have buffer stock, then also APL families, above families who could afford, so whatever their concession was, that has been decreased. Okay. Fourth is rising minimum support price, MSP. Okay. MSP and unsustainability of agriculture development in some states. So MSP is minimum support price, which is given to farmer by the government. So minimum support price have been, so MSP has been rising, and there has been unsustainability. Unsustainability means not proper planning. Okay, not proper planning of a land. Okay, of agriculture development in some states. Okay, they have been recklessly growing any kind of crop in the field. Okay, so which has lead to unsustainability. It leads to land losing its fertility. Okay, and becoming unfit for cultivation. Okay, so these are major, the criticism of PDS, public distribution system, has been criticized for these reasons. Now, we'll understand the role of cooperatives here. Cooperatives are basically private companies. Okay, you must have seen private limited. So these are some of the social responsibilities that government has given to cooperatives, under which they run their company, and simultaneously benefit the rural areas. Okay, so majorly two roles are there. One is the dairy cooperative. Dairy cooperative, we have heard of the companies, Mother Dairy, Amul. Okay, so these are the company which indirectly takes some kind of commodity from these people and give money to them instead. Okay, this is dairy cooperative. Second is ADS and grain banks in Maharashtra. ADS and grain banks work like, for example, this is the grain bank. Okay, for example, there is a household or there is a village who is in need of help, so who are food insecure and are need of help, and they need grain for their family or food for their family, and they do not and they are affected by any kind of natural calamity, or there could be drought or famine. So in that case, these people visit grain bank or ADS, and they um, provide ration to these people. Okay, so basically, ADS and grain bank work with marginalized section and help them providing food, regular food supply. Okay, so these are the major roles of cooperative. Now we'll discuss some of the questions that are very very important in this chapter. Question number one is, how is food security ensured in India? What do you think? What are the steps taken by our government to ensure the food security of our country? So, we have learned that food security is ensured by two components. Okay, I hope you remember these two components. What are these two components? First is buffer stock. Yes, you are right. And second is PDS, public distribution system. Okay, so food security is ensured in India by these two major components. All right. Next question is, which are the people more prone to food security? Yes, who are the people who are more prone to food security? One, laborers. Okay, laborers, landless farmers, right? Who else? Local artisans, because their daily wage is very, very less. Local artisans. So these are the people who are majorly laborers, daily wage laborers in urban areas, you can say. Okay. These are the people who are more prone to food security. which states are more food insecure of India? So, which are the states which they have lack of food availability in those areas? So, which are these states? These are, as we have studied in bar graph, it is Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, right? We also have some areas of Maharashtra, right? And Odisha, West Bengal, MP, Madhya Pradesh. Okay, so these are the majorly few states who are food insecure, means they do not have sufficient food to suffice. Okay, now next question. So fourth question is, do you believe that green revolution has made India self-sufficient in food grains? If yes, then how? Yes, it has. Green revolution has made India self-sufficient. So post independence and up till 30 years now, India has been self-sufficient in terms of food grains. Okay. So how did that happen? So it was because of the new strategies that have been adopted, which include uh, high yielding variety seeds, insecticides and pesticides, which has lead to greater production of rice and wheat. Okay, so that's how India has become self-sufficient in terms of food grains. All right. Question number 5 is, how a section of people in India are still without food. Explain. There are still a section of people who are food insecure, still do not have food. How do you think it's possible, and who are these people? Yes, it is people who are below poverty line, who comes under poverty, who are who we call it poorest in the below poverty line. They are still, they sleep hungry. They do not have food to eat. Okay, and it's impossible for them to get even 2 square meals in a day. Okay, so these people are majorly people belonging to ST, SC, or very lower economic and social background. Okay, so these are the people who are still sadly, unfortunately, in our country, are still without food. Next question: what happens to the supply of food when there is a disaster or a calamity? What happens to the supply of food? Where do you think at that time food comes from? So what happens in that case? Okay, firstly, there is shortage of food. Okay, definitely, if there is no food supply, there is shortage of food. And if there is shortage of food, it will lead to hike in price. Okay, hike in price means that the price of any commodity or any kind of crop will go to a very high rate. Okay, where it's unaffordable for most of the people. Okay, so this a kind of situation comes when there is a disaster or a calamity. Question 7 is, differentiate between seasonal hunger and chronic hunger. Chronic hunger is basically long term hunger. Okay, long term hunger where there is a constant struggle of food insecurity. Okay, seasonal hunger is by for example in rural areas there are 4 to 5 months. Okay, where farmers are unemployed, they do not have any job or any kind of work to do. They have scarcity, of food. Okay, so this is a seasonal hunger. So whenever the crop will grow, they will have food to eat, right? There will be food in their plates. But seasonal hunger is by the time where they do not have job and they do not have work in the field, and at that time there is scarcity of food. Okay, so that is seasonal hunger and chronic hunger. Next is, what has our government done to provide food security to the poor? Discuss any two scheme launched by the government. So, what has our government done? So, we have majorly seen 3 interventions. You can discuss any two of them. Okay, first one is PDS, public distribution system, under which different kind of ration cards have been introduced. Okay, so you can discuss here three kinds of ration cards, which are APL, BPL, and Antyodaya ration card. Okay, and second scheme you can discuss about, this is Integrated Child Development Service. Okay, which it's for child scheme. Okay, in this scheme, nutrition have been provided to the children, and in terms of midday meals in their schools. Okay, third you can discuss about food for work. Okay, so in this scheme, government provide work to the laborers, and in return they give them food. Okay, so if they work for the government, they'll get food. Okay, so these are the schemes which have been launched by the government. You can discuss any two of them. Yes, question number 9 is, why is buffer stock created by the government? What is the reason for buffer stock? Buffer stock basically means surplus stock. Okay, surplus stock has been created by the government in the situation when there is natural calamity, or when there is a famine or drought. So in these case, buffer stock is used. Okay, and most importantly, apart from natural calamity usage, buffer stock has been also made for to make food security. Okay, food security. Reason being, first is to prevent hunger, and second is to make sure that the future has food. Okay, so to prevent current hunger. Okay, prevent current hunger, and insurance food for future generation. Okay, so these are the majorly reason why buffer stock has been created by our government. Question number 10 is, you have to write notes on the following things. Minimum support price. Minimum support price is MSP, which is this minimum price given by the government to the farmer to make sure that the agricultural has been done in a sustainable manner. Buffer stock, like we have just now discussed, is the surplus stock we have, which has been made by the government to ensure food security in our country. Okay, issue price. Okay, so issue price is basically when government give food or commodities or essential commodities at a very very low price to marginalized area. Okay, marginalized area means areas which required the most. Okay, or the people who required ration the most. Okay, so for example, as we have discussed, a government give them at rupees 3 or 2 rupees per kg. Okay, so that is issue price. Fourth is fair price shops. Okay, fair price shops, as we have discussed, public distribution system. So where this distribution system has made, okay, it's in the ration shops, or also known as the fair price shop. The license, government provide license to the distributor who give at a very minimum cost, who provide food or essential commodities to the people who are ration holders. Okay, very important. This is only being given to people who are ration card holders. All right. So for having the fair price shop, one requires a license which only government provide. Question number 11 is, what are the problems of the functioning of ration shops? Now, there have been several problems and criticism with the PDS, public distribution system, that we have discussed. One of them, and the major one, is malpractice. Okay, malpractice by the distributor. Okay, so malpractice by the distributor means corruption by the distribution, which lead beneficiary not getting proper ration that they required. So this is one of the major problems that has been there with ration shops. Okay, Question number 12 is write a note on the roles of cooperatives in providing food and related items. So, what are the roles of cooperative? First, we discuss about dairy. Okay, so first in dairy, yeah, they provide them employment by taking milk from them. Okay, and which are the companies who does that? Amul and all other dairy companies. Okay, so one is this. Okay, they're ensuring employment to them by taking them some important commodities. Okay. Second, we discuss about ADS and food grain bank. Okay, so in food grain bank, they ensure the regular supply of food. So it's a food bank, you can say. They ensure the regular supply of food for the people who are either affected by any kind of natural disaster or people who comes below poverty line. Okay, people who below comes and below poverty line and are need of ration. Okay, so these are basically for marginalized section or the people who live in remote areas where there is inaccessibility of food. All right. So yes, this was our last question. I hope you understand all the answers of question.